So it is an interesting weekend that we've got coming up in the Championship. We've only got 3 Championship games to go ahead and preview, but we are going to go ahead and talk over the FA Cup matches, which do involve a Championship side this weekend as well. And we've got some big ones involving some Premier League sides as well. So do get involved with the comments down below. If you are taking part in the Patreon Predictions League, of course it will only be the Championship games which are counted towards that, but plenty of score predictions to get in with. We'll start out with the Championship games and then hop into the FA Cup games. So without any further ado, let's jump in. Starting out with Coventry up against Huddersfield. With Coventry at the moment, there rarely seems to be any sort of in-between. It's either a 6-goal thriller or it's a really tight and cagey match between both sides. I envisage this game being a lot tighter, especially how open and fluid that game against Norwich was in the end. Given the style I'm expecting Huddersfield to take up in this game and how it's going to be on Coventry to go ahead and break them down. From a Huddersfield perspective, it has been quite a while since we last saw them in action, as of course their previous game against Blackpool was postponed, so they do have that game in hand on some of the other teams around them at the moment. And I mean, that game to come in the future, whenever it is played, could be an absolutely massive one between Huddersfield and Blackpool, given the circumstances surrounding both clubs at the moment. Last time out in the Championship, Huddersfield quite disappointing to not hold on to all 3 points in the end against Hull, given the late equaliser they popped up with, but there have been more signs of life from this side lately. With that being said, Coventry could really do with getting back to winning ways in this one, and for however thin their squad might be looking at the moment, I think they may just get over the line with a sneaky 1-0 in this one. I think the home side just takes it there. I think that Hull up against QPR is a pretty tough game to call, to be honest. I could definitely see this one swaying either way. A lot of Hull matches recently have been incredibly tight. Obviously last time out, quite a narrow defeat in the end to Sheffield United. Certainly no shame in losing that. Obviously going behind early on, it's then quite hard to get that recovery after that. Going up against the QPR side, who themselves have been fairly draw heavy, particularly since Critchley's come in. 7 games in charge now for the new manager. Just 1 win, 4 draws and 2 defeats. To be fair, last time out I thought QPR looked quite decent value for money against Swansea. They sacrificed a bit of the possession, but I think everyone does that when they're playing Swansea. But in terms of the chances they created, some of the passages of play moving forward, for the first 60 or so minutes of that game, they really looked quite good. And on another day, Jamal Lowe could have got 2 or 3 goals in that one. With how tight I'm expecting this to be between both sides, I think I'm edging towards a draw here, Score prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-1er between these two. Don't think there'll be a great deal in that one. And then as the last of our Championship fixtures to go over for the weekend, we've got Middlesbrough going up against Watford. This one, really interesting clash, a potential dress rehearsal for the playoffs later on in the season. Certainly both sides expected to be up and around the playoff picture come the end of the season. Only 2 points separates them at the moment. Watford in 3rd, Middlesbrough in 6th place. Now, Middlesbrough did lose last time out, a little bit under par from what we've come to expect from them in that game against Sunderland from their time under Carrick so far. Generally speaking, they've always had decent bounce back ability. Whenever they have lost a match under Carrick, they have immediately won their next match. They're unbeaten at home in the league under Carrick as well, which is a big bonus going their way. And Watford have been a little bit unpredictable lately, albeit they are 3rd in the Championship at the moment. 2 wins, a draw and a loss from Watford's last 4 Championship matches. For this one, a draw wouldn't massively surprise me, but with Borough having home advantage and I think a decent bounce back ability throughout the season, I think I'm just going to edge Borough in this one for a 2-1 home victory. But if Watford pull off a result there, I wouldn't be massively surprised. But guys, there we have it. Those are all 3 of the Championship matches which are taking place this weekend. Do drop your score predictions down below. Before we wrap up the video though, we've got plenty of FA Cup games to go over, so let's hop into them next. We've got an all-Championship tie going on between Blackburn and Birmingham. Birmingham not going great in the league at the moment, but perhaps the FA Cup can be a decent distraction for them. 5 losses in a row in the league. Obviously last time out against Preston, definitely weren't at their best in that one. Blackburn, very much that hit or miss side. They finally got their first draw of the season last week. A draw in this one would be pretty unhelpful to go ahead and set up a replay against Birmingham and further congest the fixture list. honest. I just feel as if with the run that Birmingham are on at the moment, I know Blackburn can be quite hit and miss, but they did well in the last round to get through Norwich away. I think Blackburn take this one, if I'm honest. Score prediction between these two, going to go 2-0 Blackburn in that one. I think the home advantage sways it. After that, for Bristol City up against West Brom, another all championship tie. They're always quite hard to call these ones, especially in the FA Cup when it's two teams from the same league going up against each other, because we don't know how strong each team's going to go for this one. You know, in the third round we saw plenty of championship clubs making rotations to their teams, whether or not they go stronger, because it's the fourth round we're now talking about. In a league scenario, I'd definitely be backing West Brom for this one, I think. But the FA Cup likes to throw up a few upsets, and Bristol City do like a cup run, to be fair, don't they? The mood seems to have lifted somewhat there over the past couple of weeks as well. And why not? I'll go for it in this one. Score prediction for this game, going 2-1 Bristol City. Why not? This one could get quite tasty though. Fulham up against Sunderland. Premier League versus Championship. Been really impressed with Marco Silva and Fulham this year, I have to say. A team that we've seen yo-yoing recently between the Premier League and Championship, a side who a lot of people, myself included, thought would be going down this season. It's not been the case, and they've managed to ride that wave of momentum from the Championship last time to the Premier League, and I am glad they've gone ahead and done it, because they absolutely obliterated the Championship last season, and it's been good to see how some of their players have stepped up, and generally speaking how well they've actually nailed the recruitment. I do think Sunderland will give them a decent run for their money in this one though. Sunderland are that sort of side who can raise their game, I feel like, particularly against the bigger sides. You know, we've seen it in the Championship this season. Their last performance, for example, was absolutely brilliant, left everything on the pitch against Middlesbrough. But Fulham are looking good at the moment. For a score prediction in this one, do you know what? I was going to say a replay, but I think Fulham might just take this one. They got that bit more squad depth and quality, but I'm going to go for a 5-goal thriller. 3-2 Fulham, I'm saying, in that game. I think they just take it. After that, for Ipswich up against Burnley, another tie which could be an absolute cracker. Ipswich going really well in League One at the moment. The promotion race in League One, by the way, for automatic promotion, seriously heating up in the second half of the season. And I mean, this one very much could be, you know, a Championship side in waiting in Ipswich. They're, you know, three sides really gunning for promotion at the top there. Plymouth, Sheffield Wednesday and Ipswich. Maybe you could throw Derby into that as well, with the way they're playing at the moment. And they did get through Championship opposition in the previous round as well. They absolutely obliterated Rotherham, putting 4 goals past them. Going up against this Burnley side is a different proposition though. They're playing with such consistency throughout their whole team at the moment, and even if Company does decide to make, you know, 5 or 6 changes for this game, the strength they've got in depth in that side is absolutely frightening. You know, they could use this as an opportunity to throw in some of their new boys perhaps. And for a prediction in this one, I think Ipswich will put up a good fight, but I can't see past Burnley at the moment. Score prediction, going 2-1 Burnley in that game. I think they'll just take it. After that, for Luton up against Grimsby. The FA Cup always likes to throw up a few upsets, but I'm not sure if I can see one in this round. It did take Luton a replay in the end to get past Wigan in the previous round, played out a draw at home and managed to snatch it late on in the replay. Going up against League 2 Grimsby, they're 16th in League 2 at the moment, and looking over the form book, not on an amazing run at the moment. They lost their last game 5-0 to Swindon. This Luton side, I'm liking the look of it at the moment. I think they probably take this one. Maybe the FA Cup can provide some magic here, but I'm going to go 2-1 Luton in this game, I think. Next then to Southampton up against Blackpool. This one, I mean, very much could be a Championship fixture next season if Blackpool get their act together and Southampton do come down. To be fair to Nathan Jones, after what was a really rocky start at Southampton, he has slowly started to get the act together, and there have been some signs of life from that Saints team, but it is still going to be, you know, a big ask for survival, given that they are right down there at the moment in the Premier League. Going up against this Blackpool side, it will be Mick McCarthy's first game in charge. Not sure how much we'll learn about this Blackpool side in this game, given they are going up against Premier League opposition, but we may see a few of the blueprints starting to come into place. Obviously, their game at the weekend last time was postponed, so you will have got a bit more time on the training pitch with this squad for that reason. reason. Southampton did really well, obviously, and have done well to make it to the semi-finals of the EFL Cup. They may fancy another cup run in the FA Cup. I think they probably take it against Blackpool in this one. Score prediction, going to go 2-0 Southampton. I think the Premier League side takes this one. After that, to Deepdale for Preston up against Spurs. I really wish this one was an away tie because we've been so good on the road this season, but at Deepdale it's just not happened for us whatsoever. It would be good though if we finally did show up at Deepdale for this one. And to be honest, Spurs haven't been going amazingly in the Premier League. Obviously they did get back to winning ways last time with that 1-0 win away at Fulham, and I don't think they'll completely wipe the floor with us in this game or anything like that. I am expecting us to be quite, resolute, sit in with that back five and then look to pick up moments on the counter-attack. I am expecting Spurs to go strong for this one. They went pretty strong looking at their lineup in the third round against League One opposition, so I can't think of a reason why they wouldn't do the same in the fourth round. And the FA Cup probably represents Spurs' best chance this season of winning a trophy. For a prediction in this one, I'd love it if we could get a replay, but I think the likelihood is that Spurs probably take it on the road. Score prediction, going to go 2-1 Tottenham. I fancy us to get a goal. After that, for Manchester United up against Reading. If the same Reading side shows up that played away at Stoke, then my God, they could be in for a long afternoon at Old Trafford. We'll wait and see how strong Man United actually go for this one. Obviously, they are in midweek action up against Forest in the EFL Cup semi-final. They are the overwhelming favourites coming into this one, though, and whether or not Paul Ince can pull together some sort of tactical plan to shut out Man United and frustrate them, which we have seen Championship sides doing in the past. If we think back to last season when Middlesbrough did a really good job on Man United, but Reading's away record has been pretty shocking this season. I think this is going to be a routine win for Man United, if I'm honest. Score prediction, going to go 4-1 United. I'll say Reading will get a goal. Then for Stoke up against Stevenage, potential cup upset in the air once again. Obviously Stevenage were one of the stories of the last round, beating Aston Villa away from home in the manner in which they did. They're going really strong in League 2 at the moment as well. And you know what? I think they'll give Stoke a really good run for their money in this game. I know Stoke got back to winning ways in quite emphatic style last time in the Championship, putting 4 goals past Reading, but generally speaking they've been massively under par, especially at home so far this season. Whether or not they take that confidence from that Reading game into this one, it remains to be seen, but Stevenage will fancy their chances, particularly after getting through a Premier League side in the last round. And because I've not predicted all too many upsets so far, I'll go for one in this one. 2-1 Stevenage. They're going to sneak it again in this game for me. Finishing it off with what has the potential to be the tie of the round, Wrexham up against Sheffield United. I cannot wait for the spectacle of this one. The fact that it's at Wrexham as well, obviously they're involved in one of the games of the last round, beating Coventry, putting 4 goals past them away from home, absolutely packing out that away end, and I'm sure the atmosphere in for this one is going to be absolutely electric. Going up against the Sheffield United side will be a step up from the Coventry team that they played last time out, but we saw just how competitive, motivated and well coached Wrexham actually looked in that game against Coventry. They'll bring all that into this game against Sheffield United. Sheffield United been going really strong in the Championship. It'll be interesting to see how strong they actually go for this game. Obviously they've got one eye on the league at the moment, but who doesn't love a cup run? For a prediction in this one, I reckon Wrexham might get a replay at the very least. I think home advantage really comes into it in a tie like this. And for a prediction, I'll go for a 2-2 draw. Fancy a few goals to be scored in that one again. But guys, there we have it. That is what I am saying for this weekend's fixtures. The FA Cup predictions just for a little bit of fun, but do let me know what you see happening in the Championship in the comments down below. Always interested to see what you guys are saying. Apart from that, guys, that will wrap it up for today's video. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do stick around and subscribe for some regular Championship content. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you all in the next one.